Welcome back, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. You're watching episode 10. The
10.
10. It's 10. Episode 10 of the Bassin Castin Podcast. My name's Chad Brock. Nobody knows what I'm doing here. And over here to my other side, we've got the man who invented winter shorts, the man that they drive from hundreds, thousands, millions of miles around just to fish his tournaments. The one, the only, Chip Ayers. Man, how you doing?
Buddy, I'm doing good, Chad. Have you 2 weeks ago we were complaining about all the snow. Now we're floating away up here. So we got
Buddy, it rained a lot last night.
Man, most of the lakes, I checked them today. At least in the Indiana lakes, they're all full. They're getting full. I mean, we've had I think down here in southeastern Indiana, we had somewhere around 4.5 inches rain in the last 24, and we're going to get another 2 to 3 in the next 36. And so anybody that I could have run a buzz bait through my front yard today, and may even had a bite. So we got the water.
You may not have had a bite, but you set the hook anyway, like you did.
I'll set the hook all the time. I'll run out. I get Miss Lisa to go out there and pull on it every once in a while, and let her make me think I got a bite.
There you go. You just put it on a dog toy, let Copper take off with it, so you can hear it feel a little bit of drag.
That's exactly right. How about you? How's you're a busy man?
I'm here. I'm at home. I think this is home. But yeah, I've been a little bit all over the place here the last few weeks. Center Hill on a quick, fast, and hurry adventure, and then some client work around town here the past couple of days. I think this is the first time that I've had a chance to stop and think about what my name is. But yeah, man, kayak tournaments are booming. Yeah. We had another episode of the Kayak Awards show that's going to be coming to you every Monday night. As long as we have kayak tournaments going on through USA Bassin. So catch that over on the kayak page and the YouTube spot. But yeah, man, it's busy. 94 inches took to one. We thought we was going to have our first Century Club angler of the year, breaking that 100-inch mark. Didn't quite happen. Fell about 6 inches short, but hey, that's the story of life, bud.
It is. That's it. And like you said, getting busy. I went ahead and jotted down just a few. We're getting it's that time of year, Chad. We're getting busy. We've got tournaments galore, and just this coming weekend, I can't. It'd take up half the show to tell you all the tournaments that are going on. But some of the highlights, got another one in Tennessee at Center Hill, Tennessee 16. Illinois jumping in.
Center Hill.
Center Hill jumping in.
There's going to be some good fishing down at Center Hill. As long as the water cleans up, buddy, I'm here to tell you.
And now the Illinois boys, they're getting started over Washington Lake. Tommy Estes has one going at Catawba this weekend on Saturday. And then on Sunday, there's one at Percy Priest back in Tennessee. Old Chester Craycraft, he's going to be running one down there at Taylorsville. They're south of Louisville. And then not to be outdone, Tommy's got another one. He's a glutton for punishment. He's going to have one on Barkley out of Little River. So their things are starting to pick up, and it's time. It's going to get busy. We're going to be getting a lot of results coming in. A lot of guys are getting on the water, and I know I just talked to Miss Marcia at the office. She said if guys don't want to wait till they're at the tournament site to get their cards, go ahead, give her a call. She can get your cards or send it in. She can get them taken care of through the mail. So I
highly recommend that, because it makes, as a guy that's directed tournaments in the past on the boat side and the kayak side for that matter, man, it is really nice when everybody comes through and they've got their stuff and it doesn't take any extra time in the mornings.
Oh, it speeds up the whole process. Everybody gets out on the water at the same time. You don't have to worry about things, things waiting, just holding everything up. Directors all have cards, but if you can get them out there and get them going, get it early. That's it. Have you heard anything about the Classic? How the entry's coming in on the Classic? Have you heard,
buddy? That Silver Cup now. That Silver Cup. There's a few spots left, but
not very many.
Sitting at 215 entries on the Silver Cup right now. The Classic, it's filling up slower. We're at 76 on that one. The Big Show. Now, what I've heard, rumor has it, big prizes are going to be given away at the Classic. It's going to have a few extra items to be given away at the Classic this year.
I've heard that too. Some of the sponsors are really going to come through, and there's going to be a lot of additional cash and prizes, if you will.
That is all going to the Classic versus the Silver Cup.
Yes.
So the one of the big goals for the tribe here at USA Bassin is how do we elevate the Classic and make it even better and even bigger? Sponsors have kicked in, and there's a lot geared towards the Classic to help elevate it as the premier event. I mean, golly geez, Chip, it's going to be our 22nd USA Bassin Classic.
That we've got teams with guys on it that these things were going before they were ever born, and that's a pretty cool thing right there.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, we're there.
We are now a generation into this, and I got to tell you, Miss Lisa and I spent a little bit of time up at the Indianapolis Boat Show. If you haven't been up there, it's huge. We were up there last week during the boat show, and I can't tell you how many people we had come up, and because they recognize us from the podcast and such.
Or Nicaragua or
Honduras, Ethiopia, because we're worldwide. We were talking about that. We're worldwide now. But how much excitement there is and how many questions there are about the way this rocket ship of USA Bassin is going. We spent more time talking to people than actually walking around looking, because people just want to know about that. They're hearing about it. They're seeing the exciting things going on out there, and they want to be a part of it. Yeah. So it looks to be another great season. And like I said, 22, like you said, 22 years, man, that's awesome.
Well, I tell you what, bud, I've been fishing this thing long enough to see myself become one of the old heads. And that is weird.
Yeah, it is. I've been doing this long enough that the guys that I fish with, now I see their kids out there, not just in the youth series, but starting to see those they were toddlers at the weigh-in years ago. Now they're running around, doing the same thing. So yeah, pretty cool deal. But I got to tell you, I am really excited about the guy we're going to have on tonight.
Oh, absolute legend in the fishing world. I don't even think that I can do as gifted of an intro as I think that I am. I don't think that I can do this one justice, Chip. I think I almost feel like we need to bring Lisa in just to give him his intro, because I don't want to mess it up.
It's folks. It's Bill Taylor. And if you don't know Bill, well, sit back. You're gonna meet him here live here in just a few minutes. Send your questions in. Be a part of this, because this man, he's weighed fish for everybody from KVD to Wheeler to Clun to he's fishing the USA Bassin tournaments down on Cumberland and everything else. So let's get him in here, Chad. Let's get this thing going.
One, the only, Bill Taylor. Bill, welcome to the show, buddy.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. My pleasure.
Bill, hey, I got to tell you, thank you. This is an honor to have you on here with us. I know you're a legend down there in those Kentucky and Tennessee and Alabama lakes with the fishermen, and you're a legend across the country as far as tournaments go. And the USA Bassin, the USA Bassin family here, we just thank you for fishing our tournaments, being a part of our stuff, and being willing to come on and talk to the guys tonight.
Well, I'm so glad to be here. Yes, unfortunately, I wasn't able to fish many of the USA Bassin tournaments during my career there as a tournament director at now the Major League Fishing Group. But I jumped in those. I'm definitely fishing a division here on Cumberland this year, and may take a look at the Green River division over there as well. But you guys put on quite the show, and I'm impressed. I really am.
Well, that means a lot, Bill. For those that don't know, I mean, you were the FLW director, you were the MLF director. You were recognized by the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame out in Springfield with Johnny Morris. But not only that, you fished the Red Man. You've won some regionals out there in the old Operation Bass days. So you've done a little bit of everything in this. So, I mean, tell us a little bit about all that.
Well, first off, I'll say no one loves fishing any better than I do. And I started tournament fishing in the mid-'70s. As like most back then, I started out in a local club that a couple of guys and I founded here in Danville, Kentucky, called the KY Bass Club. And as a matter of fact, it's still going. And it wasn't long there that there wasn't a lot of tournaments out there, to be honest with you, you know. And I dabbled in the Bassmasters. The old American Bass Fishing, which Hank Parker and several other people like that started out in before they got into the Bassmaster group. And from the OABA, American Bass Fishing Association, I jumped into a few other local events as they were put on, and then I fished Bassmaster events up until about 1984. But I started fishing the old Operation Bass, and I saw and met you, Chip, at one of those events in the Hoosier Division years ago, a long time ago, back in the late 80s, early 90s. And it just escalated from all that. I'm a retired UPS person. I worked 30 years there, and I used the old Operation Bass during the Red Man Tournament Trail days to subsidize my income to put my kids through college. And I took a part-time position in 1989, and I helped with the Hoosier Division, Michigan Division, the Mountain Division in those events, and was planning on actually quitting that position as a tournament official. And I got a call. One day I was in Texas, or actually I was in Shreveport. I'd been on a trip all through Texas, setting up the Texas Tournament Trail there, which was a big-time event sponsored by Ranger Boats at that time. Got a call while I was in Shreveport, and they had a move in the tournament full-time position at and then FLW as a tournament director for the FLW Tour. And they asked me if I would take that job. And I said, when do I start? And they said, right now. And I said, put me on the clock. And so it went from there. I oversaw the bass operations there for several years. And finally, we got to the point where basically I was part of the operations team as director of operations. And then it grew from that. And strictly was the tournament director, oversaw all the setup, the scheduling, all the route boats and everything that went along with that FLW tour. I worked with the TV crews and all of those guys, and kept me busy.
Wow. Yeah,
I can only imagine.
Yeah, do what, Chad? Jump in there, Chad. I think
There we go. I can only imagine that just the little bit that we do, and being a tournament director, Bill, is no easy feat. And I think from all of us out in fishing land, man, thank you for what you've done.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. And I'll say this, my first introduction to USA Bassin was on Lake Cumberland, and the first tournament director there was Steve. My Alzheimer's got me. I can't recall his last name, but I apologize.
Steve Riley.
Steve Riley. I'm sorry, Steve, if you're listening, because you're a special person to me right to this day, because how you treated me at that event and how all the other anglers surrounded around me and welcomed me aboard. And it's a great organization. And thanks, Steve, for putting on a great tournament. He can't do it anymore health-wise, but he sure did you guys a great job.
And Steve was very instrumental in getting me and you together after all these years to get you on here. So again, thanks, Steve, down there for getting that going. You've been around this game so long, Bill. I had somebody send me a question when they saw you were going to be on here. You've been around everyone from KVD to Jacob Wheeler to Rick Clunn to the average guy pulling up to a USA Bassin tournament at Lake Cumberland at the ramp there. What advice would you give? They want to know what advice would you give to somebody who's just getting into this, looking, at the USA Bassin as a grassroots place, someplace to get started with their buddy, someplace close to home. What advice can you give to them?
Well, the best advice I would get starting at the high school and college level is get a good education first. Don't walk away from the books, and get out there and participate in their events, whether it's a college, high school events, whether they're sanctioned with certain states have sanctions like Kentucky. The Kentucky High School Athletic Association sanctions the Major League Fishing events for high schoolers, and there's other organizations out there that do, and they're all good run events. I recommend that your mom and dad or your uncles and your nephews or whoever is good, close to you that fish, tell them I want to learn to fish. Same for college. I've got a nephew that's on scholarship going to college, and it's paying his way, and he's doing great in there. But I tell him every time I talk with him, stay on the books. You'll need them later on. Don't make any enemies out there. Show respect to every angler on the water and be safe, and work your way on up as financially you are able to do that, and don't overdo it, but just keep the head up, learn all you can. Fish these tournaments like USA Bassin with your dad or your uncle, and recommend then that once you get a good feel for all that and learn the ropes, you learn to drive that boat safely, learn the on the water hazards and boat traffic congestion areas and all that, and just do the best you can safety wise, and then have a love like I do for it, and you'll grow into it and you'll become a great fisherman. That's
some pure gospel right there for everybody out there. That's coming from a man that would know, Chad.
Absolutely.
He would know that.
We do got a question here from the audience, Chip. Jason Kaiser wants to know, Mr. Bill, what is your most memorable tournament in tournament fishing moment? What is your
as an angler? I've got a lot of them. I've won some good events. Probably, I guess the most memorable one that goes way, way back. I finished relatively high in a Bassmaster event on the Currituck Sound out of Elizabeth City, North Carolina, back years ago. I had a great partner from North Carolina there, and I met, that was the last tournament I think that Bill Dance fished in. I become close friends with Hank Parker and several of the pros, a good friend of mine from up in Ohio. He and I traveled together and had a lot of memories from that event. And then I guess another one, I won the second, I'll call it the Ranger Classic that the old Operation Bass, the former Red Man Tournament Trail, I won that event on bull shows, and that kind of escalated my career with sponsor dollars. And that's where I met Forrest Wood, and I met a bunch of guys from Indiana and Ohio that fished that division, as well as Tennessee anglers, and certainly learned about a lot of the good Kentucky anglers. And I made really close friends with them back in 1982 or 81 or 2. And we've been close relatives. I mean, close friends ever since. So some of them seem like relatives and family to me.
Yeah.
Bruce Cunningham from up in Cincinnati area had a big marine dealership up there and did well at Dixie Marine. And again, I just met so many pros that went on to fish professionally, like Guido Hibden. I fished against him in some of the BFLs back in the day and regionals. And it was just, I got too many good memories out there to recall them all. I guess another one was when we presented Scott Suggs $1 million check for winning the Forrest Wood Cup out at off of Lake Ouachita there in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So got many of them. Too many to really sit down and tell you all about them. I can tell you all about them, but it would take us days or if not weeks.
So, Bill, a question for you. Are you surprised at the evolution of fishing? I mean, obviously, you guys set the bar back in the day with Kellogg's wrapped boats and Coca-Cola and all the things that the FLW did back in the day. Are you impressed with where we're at now? Do you think those non-endemic sponsors could ever come back to the sport? I mean, where do you see it going from here?
Well, I'm hoping and praying that it does move forward as it has in the past. I've seen a lot of positive stuff in the last little bit here over the last 6 months. I think the TV coverage is phenomenal from Major League Fishing, Bassmasters, all of them. They're just all there. The Alabama Bass Trail down in Alabama is tops down there. They're promoting the bass fishing at the highest of levels, non-professional like, but they're still high levels. I've got to say thanks to USA Bassin. You guys put on some of the most integral events out there. They're honest. They're true. Well run, not only by enforcement of the rules, but there's so many good organizations out there that put on great events. To answer your question about the endemic of sponsors, you know, our connection to Walmart helped that certainly without question. And the Kellogg's and the Castros of the world, they did great through sponsorship alone. And you know, General Tire and any of those sponsors, their value was proven by sponsoring the tournaments, and I can see that continue. Maybe at a little bit different level than we had them back in the day in the 2000s, the early 2000s, up to about 2013 or 2014. But it just takes a lot of hard work to giving your sponsors what they need. You've got to, and our events were always put on, and I admire the USA Bassin for the same thing. They put on we always tried to put on the best events we could afford to put on. And that included giving our anglers the best, our sponsors the best, and obviously the fans the best event to make them want to come back. And we stress that staff-wise to everybody that worked for us. And I noticed that Steve Wiley and the people I saw and you, Chip, out there in the field working, I've watched some of the weigh-ins down there at Kentucky Lake when you guys had those big week-long events that I admired. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to fish any of them, but hopefully one day, maybe next year, I might be able to make that classic. But I just hope and pray. And look, the forward-facing deal is a question mark. I like it. I don't want to see anything negative toward the sport, but it hurts some people. It hurts co-anglers in the boat with pros. I will say that. I like the way that a lot of organizations like Major League Fishing and the BFLs, I'm not sure how you guys handle it. I hope it's wide open for you guys because it is a team event.
It is. It's wide open. Yeah, it's wide open.
I like that, and that's the reason I'll fish it. But there's other people that doesn't like it at all, and they won't fish events, and I respect that. You know, there's a lot of good events out there, but I like to use the technology. I mean, I can remember when I thought string line, and still it's great line, don't get me wrong, but you know, when they come out with fluorescent light for night fishing, I thought I died and went to heaven. And then, of course, the other line company like Cigar, and I'm a P-line guy myself, and people like Zoom, they've invented product after product, and Strike King and all those all those companies that really, really, really put their dollars into tournament angling. And we need to honor those guys, because without those, none of us would have organizations to fish in. And but I hope it continues on just like everybody else. I'm going to give it my 100%. I don't know. I told somebody today, they asked me how I was doing, and I said, well, I finally got down. I got out of the fourth quarter. I'm into the 2-minute warning now. I'm 78 years old, but I tell you, as long as I can stay fishing and cast a rod and sign my weigh-in ticket, I'm going to continue as long as I can. And I hope everybody out there continues and does it, because my neurologist tells me it's the best antibiotic, or whatever I want to say. It's the best med I can take for my condition.
Wow. That's just awesome, Bill. That's just awesome. And you know, that it's something I heard from you way back at those Hoosier division. You know, we always got to thank the sponsors that are helping putting this together. We don't ask that you just buy products from them, but if you're in the market for something, absolutely. I mean, I use these words at every tournament, and I got them from Mr. Bill Taylor, folks. That don't ask that you just buy from them, but if you're in the market for something they make, please give them a look, because they're what makes this whole thing go. And so, yeah, we can't. Sure. Yeah, that is some good, laying some good stuff on them.
And I think, Chip, I think that for the most part, anglers do that. You know, the best they can. You know, there's so many outlets out there now. You know, Bass Pro Shop and Tackle Warehouse and Academy Sports and all of them. I know I shouldn't have commented on them, but you know, support those guys. I mean, support your local tackle store. I know that in the Lake Cumberland events, whenever TJ Welcher was there, he actually put money up, extra dollars up to those USA Bassin, and that happens all over in these events. And you've got the boat bonuses and rewards for different companies. Phoenix Boats, Ranger, I know Skeeter, all of them, I guess. I want to leave any of them out, because for the most part, you know, look at that and see which boat company represents the company that you're fishing with, whether it's USA Bassin, Major League Fishing, Bassmaster, whomever. Support that company that supports them. That's where I'm getting at.
Yep, absolutely. You know, we just had a question come in, Chad. I don't know if you saw it there. Bill, where do you think there it is, from Brian, with everything you've seen over all the years, Bill, where do you see tournament fishing, bass tournament fishing in 10 years? Where do you see it going?
Well, that's a good question, one I've been asked a lot of times. Primarily, first off, I'll say this. I think when I started fishing, you started peaking no earlier than your mid-30s as a professional angler. Rick Clun and KVD and a few of those guys were ahead of times, but they come along quick. But for the most part, the people I fished against, they'd fished their entire life, but they got skill after skill, the hard work, on the water, knowledge of different size lakes, different colored lakes, whether it's river system or grass or whatever it was. They had to learn that on their own. We didn't have videos that we could watch, or we didn't have anglers that had fished all types of those waters. we had to learn it on our own. I think with that being said, I think probably in 10 years, the average age of the pro anglers is going to be no higher than 35 years old.
It'll be like a baseball team.
Those guys are that skillful coming along, and I think you'll see a lot of new faces. I know it's heartbreaking for some of the guys that didn't requalify in the Bassmasters and the Major League Fishing and all the groups. And the good thing about all that is, as we get older, anglers, we've got other outlets. We don't have to fish professionally. We can fish the USA Bassin weekend tournaments. We can fish the Bass Fishing League. We can fish just a regular Friday night tournaments we want. So let's don't quit fishing just because we get 70 or 80 years old and can't fish and read that sonar out there. I love fishing with it. I'm not good at it, but I love using it. So, I'll just keep my fingers crossed, and I pray that the anglers continue developing a passion for the sport and supporting the organizations and their sponsors, and let's keep this thing moving.
There you go.
Bill, talking about the young anglers brings this to mind. Do you ever remember a time through your years of running different tournaments where you've seen such an influx of youth that we're seeing now? I mean, I can remember when Jacob first started fishing, the FLW Tour and all that. I mean, he was one of the only young guys out there, but now it seems like we've got so many that have just exploded onto the scene.
It has exploded, and obviously a big thing of that is the high school and college fishing for the most part, I think. And then secondly, you're correct. I saw Jacob Wheeler come out of the Federation and all that good stuff. He went through and the BFL, and I spoke with him on the telephone as a youngster. I watched him win the Forest Wood Cup. There's nobody out there right now any better. I promise you that. I watched Kevin Van Dam professionally fish. I watched him on TV now, but he has to be. He and Rick Clunn led the stage with everything there. Everyone followed those two guys. And then Denny Brower, just one of the phenomenal greats, and Larry Nixon, who I love dearly like a brother, and I speak with daily. And I think that a lot of people would follow those same guys, the way they've acted on stage and how they fish on the water and how they treat their customers and their fans and their sponsors. Keep an eye on those guys. Try to be like those guys. Don't start any trouble out there. Say your mind. Let your tournament director know how you feel about something, but don't complain out there on the internet. Go to your tournament official, whether it's Chip or whomever it is, and talk with them. Ask those questions, and just try to learn and do the best you can, sportsmanship-wise and safety-wise.
That's well said from a man that's been there, and as the old saying goes, been there and done that. There's Bill. There's right ways to do things, and
absolutely,
and that's an important thing for those folks, and not just the kids, but for anybody in competitive fishing.
Yeah, anybody getting into fishing. That's correct.
Yep, absolutely. One of the things that a guy asked me the other day, and he wanted me to ask you, on a lake like Cumberland, which is your home lake,
right,
down there in South Central Kentucky, that is a big lake. There's a lot of water there, and he wanted to know, when you get in a slump or you get in a funk where you just don't feel like you're catching them as well as the other guys, or you're just not performing as well as you think you could, what is something they can do on a lake like Lake Cumberland to get out of that slump or turn something around? His thing is like, I go out here and I fish the same spots and I do the same thing, and I used to catch him here doing this, and now I'm not. what would a Bill Taylor who's seen everything, been everywhere and caught all of them, what would you say to that?
Well, on Cumberland, you said it. It's a huge lake. It's gigantic. It's a great tournament lake. You can fish for miles. Many good places to fish. Some better than the others. But I first suggest someone to try to learn build Lake Cumberland in 3 sections: the upper end, including North Fork and South Fork, down to about Fishing Creek, and scout that area pretty good, and whenever you can. Then the mid lake would consist of pretty much from what I would say from Fishing Creek on down to what we would call the Boy Scout area, or the Camp Earl Wallace area down there toward Jamestown, and learn that area. Big pockets, good smallmouth fishing there. Overall, it's hit and miss more than probably the upper end or the deep dam end. And then the third section would be down all the way down to the dam from the Jamestown area, Otter, Beaver Creek, Indian Creek, and break that lake down. And once you develop a feel for how you like to fish, I don't suggest that if you're going to do a tournament out of Conley Bottom, I suggest that you learn the upper end. And if you're going to do one out of the dam, I suggest that you try the midsection area or the dam section and stick with that till you get a grip on what's there. And once you do that, I think then the creeks are so huge that you need to learn at least one good creek, whether it's Otter, Beaver, Indian, Fishing Creek, Greasy, whatever creek, Wolf. There's a lot of tremendous creeks. But you'll find it hard to day one fish Otter Creek and then go and try to fish Fishing Creek the next day in a 2-day event. There's nothing wrong doing that, but you better know what you're doing because they fish completely different times of the year. So my number one suggestion would be find a section of 3 sections, learn a little bit about the entire section, and then find a creek or a couple of large branches or whatever, bigger or smaller creeks that come in there, and learn those very well for the time of the year you're fishing. And I think you'll have a little bit better success. I might add that just because you catch fish one spot on Lake Cumberland really good today, you better look for new water the next day because it changes on the hour. So I hope that helps.
He better be taking notes. He better be taking. Everybody better be taking notes on that because if that was in the Bible, those would be red letters. Let me tell you right there.
Amen.
That's some pure gospel right there from Mr. Bill.
Yeah.
Well, now tell us about. You're famous for that Zorro jig, for that Boosa bug. And you knew I was going to ask you about this.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Tell us about the Boosa bug. Because I know 2 guys that fish it. You and Larry.
I have probably won, and I hope my accountant isn't listening to this right now, but I probably won close to $1 million on that very bait over my career, if not more. But I started fishing a jig at a young age when nobody else knew what a jig fishing was. And I'm talking about the early 1970s. But I had an opportunity to meet the founder of Zorro Bait Company. And I loved his jig. And back then, there were very few companies that made trailers for him. But I got on to the Uncle Josh pork chunks. And I just started using that as a trailer. And at that point in time, most of the jigs were hair jigs. And then the Living Rubber come out, and Stan Sloan kept making those at Zorro Baits. And I called him up one day, and I ordered a couple of 3 dozen of those Boosa bugs and 3/8 ounce. About all I used in the early days. And then Uncle Josh helped developing colors, and I used that trailer, and I just mastered that. I used it flipping. I used it casting. I used it on 10-pound test line in Clearwater, 12-pound line. I flipped with 17 or 20 with it, and my career took off because of it. And I won that Ranger Classic at Bull Shows. I won it Neely Henry of BFL. I won at Watts Bar, 2 on Dale Hollow, all on that Boozabug jig, and I continue using it today. Got new ownership, and they've got a great website, Falling Water Outdoors, I'm sorry.
Yep.
They're in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And they've got a good product. I still use them. And I guess I just ordered, as a matter of fact, I just ordered 2 more dozen of one color. Just got them in the other day. But it's a bait that's durable. You can use it in Alabama lakes, the deep clear lakes in Alabama, Lake Lanier. I've won money there. It's just an overall good bait. And Denny Brower is probably my idol when it comes to flipping a jig. And the Boozabug is not, I'm not going to say it's the best jig to flip, because it does have a tendency to hang a little bit more than others. But they love the fall of it and the way it falls, the way it's made. And it's pretty durable. It's got good paint on it. So I can't say enough about that Boozabug. But I do use other lures now. I'm a big Zoom guy. I like the brush crawls and the brush hogs, and I use their big 10-inch worms and all that. But as a matter of fact, I tied my lures on for my next event down at Lake Mitchell, and I've got all those jigs. I got 2 jigs tied on to start with, and a couple of big worms and a couple of small shakeheads for Zoom. And I just mastered that. I'm going to brag on myself. I've mastered it. I've taught a lot of guys how to fish it and how we fish it. The DeVere brothers, close friends of mine, Keith Munson here at locally, got a lot of people that fish it. I fish a lot with Perry Dethery down in Albany, Kentucky now, and he actually likes a bigger hook than I do, and he makes his own off of a mold that's similar to that. They fall the same. It's just got a bigger hook in it. But the old jig and the Boozabug's been really good to me over my career. It sure has. And thanks for asking that.
That's
Bill,
I got to say, I don't want to get in. This isn't about me. It's about Bill. But 1993, Bill Taylor gave me a Boozabug jig at Lake Monroe, and that's what got me started on jig fishing. After a tournament, he knows that story, but
I know it.
That's what got me into jig fishing. And anybody that fished with me knows I love to fish a jig, and so there you go.
Well, I'm glad you added that. That's a very high on my memory list, that trip up there. I was working with deceased Jerry Martolio, great guy, did a great job on the tournament trail. He actually lived over in Illinois, and he ran the Hoosier division and the Michigan division. And he taught me a lot, to be honest with you. And but he and I went out one day. We'd had a couple of events up there already, I think, and boy, I saw a lot of big fish come in up there. And I said, when it takes out, let's go that no-wake zone and just go down a bank or two and see if we can't get a bite. And sure enough, we went out there, and boom, first fish I boated was a 6-pounder. And I thought, boy, we don't need to be fishing out here. My boss will fire me for fishing during the tournament. So I didn't say anything about it. And then I made 2 or 3 more casts, and boom, I caught another one about 5 pounds. And I pulled it away from 3 or 4 more, and I looked, and I looked over, and the boats are watching me, and we just pulled the trolling motor up and leave. And come to find out, it was Chip Ayers.
Yep, I watched that show, and I was like, I got to learn how to fish a jig at that point, because
it's a true story.
Yeah, that is a true story. Well, now I know we're friends on faith. How's that litter of Springer pups doing?
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Yeah, my daughter's a breeder with Springer Spaniels, and I've never had dogs until just hunting dogs and outside dogs. And my daughter got into breeding. And since I retired from Major League Fishing, and I help her, I birth all of her puppies for her. She's a pharmacist by trade. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to North Carolina Saturday morning to deliver one. I flew them out to California. I've taken them to New York, Michigan, upstate Illinois. They've gone all over the country, but I help her with those, and I really enjoy it. My wife and I, we've probably birthed in the last 5 years, I would venture to say the average Springer will have 8 puppies, and we've been doing it for 5 years, and she's got 8 females. So it keeps us busy. I really love doing it. I've got 8 right here in my TV room. I'm in my little office right now, but they're back there whining. I can hear them. But we really enjoy that. Waterworks Springers, and she's a phenomenal breed person. I mean, she rehomes a lot of dogs that older people can't take care of, and she takes them back and she rehomes. So I'm glad you asked about that. People need to. I'm an outdoorsman by trade. I'm a hunter, and I like the environment outdoors, and I like animals. And I probably pass on more 150 deers than most people will see in a lifetime because I just like to hunt them. I don't like to shoot them, but I will if it's the right size. I like to eat them. Thanks for asking about the Springer Spaniels.
I knew that. Well, that brings me to another question.
Okay.
Would you rather have to spend your day around a bunch of fishermen or a bunch of Springer puppies?
Well, no question. You get around people like Hank Parker and Larry Nixon, and you sit and talk fishing, brother. You think you've died and went to heaven because you really have, because those guys are the real deals. I could just sit and Hank Parker came down to a show I attended back in January, and it was such a pleasure to talk to Hank and his wife, and I admire every professional out there. You know, I've seen them start out, and I've tutored them up a little bit along when they'd come out. You know, I try to discourage some. I encouraged others. I felt like I recruited a lot of pro fishermen by trying to teach them what they need out there, good equipment. So many had older equipment. And I said, look, you can't make it in a 2006 boat fishing in 2014. You can't gamble that. You've got to have a 2-year-old or less boat. Your equipment has to be tops. You've got to learn how to talk with sponsorship dollars and recruit yourself, build your body, build your brand, and don't cause any trouble out there. Try to get along with all the anglers. And Jacob Wheeler was one of the best. When he first come, you know, I thought, boy, this guy, you know, but I mean, he is the true professional. And again, I use his name a lot. Follow Larry Nixon, how he went about his sponsors. Follow the Hank Parkers and the Kevin Van Dams, and you won't miss. And that's the reason these new guys out there are doing well, and they're getting the sponsor dollars some of the older guys had that are now retiring. So there's plenty of money out there if you know how to get it.
Right. Yeah. If you could give, I mean, you've touched on it. You've got some health things that you're meeting head on. What and to me, you're an amazing individual just for that, if for nothing else. But what advice can you give somebody? You know, your late 70s. What advice could you give somebody out there about life? I mean, not necessarily just about fishing, but just, you know, you're an outdoorsman, and you and Barb got a wonderful marriage, and what piece of advice would you give folks out there? Somebody that's watching this tonight.
Well, for everybody out there, the main thing that I would advise anyone is to treat others the same way you want to be treated. I've been one to never hold a grudge against anyone. I've been mistreated by many people, and I've mistreated people probably, and I had a reputation probably as being hateful to a lot of people. Sometimes my conversation and the way I use words and things, people mistake me, but I'll treat people the way I want to be treated. Secondly, I praise the Lord that He's given me the health that I've had. I was diagnosed 2 years ago with Alzheimer's. I was lucky that I was early stage. I got on a program, and I recommend anyone that having memory issues at the 60s or even 50s for that matter, get checked out. And don't be ashamed that you can't say words at times, and I'm having a hard time even right now as I speak, but I'm doing very well. The meds that I'm on is called Leukemia. It's been on the market just less than 3 years. Luckily, I've been on it 16 months, and it's put a hold on my memory loss. And there is help out there for people with any health issues. All of us know our body. We know when we get tired fast. We know when we hurt. We know when we can't think straight. We know when we get confused. Study yourself. Let your spouse or your partner or whomever recognize your health issues, because if you don't have your good health, you don't have much. And then treat your family with all the respect and dignity you can, simply because they're the ones that's going to stand behind you through everything. Just like my son and my daughter and my wife have stood behind me fishing. I was gone a lot of days, just like you, Chip, at work, and everybody, Chad. But we, with the right family and you treating and everybody loving everyone, I think you'll be a better person, and you'll have a much better long life in the older age.
Well, thank you, Bill. That's pretty strong stuff, Chad.
Yeah. Bill, I got one. It's kind of out of line, but out of order. But the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
what did that mean to you and your family to have that happen for you?
well, first off, I must say that I've been just out of the world over it. I'm not a member of the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, but I've been recognized as a top contributor in the sport. There's only 13 been awarded the Merit Award, Meritorious Award by the Hall of Fame, and I'm one of the 13. That includes some high-level operators. And hopefully one day I've been nominated for the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame on several different occasions, missing it by just a few votes, which I understand. There's so many great people in the industry that are far more deserving than I. But just to be awarded that during the Red Crest at Major League Fishing, and the people from the Hall of Fame and coming down, and I went to Springfield out there, and I was in the midst of Rick Clunn and all those guys. It's really, really high end on a Hall of Fame, and the greatest people in the world in the sport there. It gives you no better feeling to be able to be in that level of anglers and people, whether they're boat manufacturers, tackle manufacturers, or pro anglers, or whomever, outdoor riders, people like you two guys sitting right here promoting the sport. Nothing makes you feel any better to be amongst that crowd.
Wow.
That's awesome. And I have no doubt that your day will come as an inductee, but the Merit Award, that's very strong. That shows
very strong. And I owe a lot. I need to add, and I don't want to fail to mention this, is I've had a lot of good people behind me, including people like Charlie Evans, who was the first to hire me, and Mike Whitaker. But Kathy Fennell and Dave Washburn, who I worked under for several years. Kathy, met her in 1984, and there's nobody better in the industry than she. She's not having the best of health right now. Our prayers go out to her, but now she's doing very well, I might add. And she's staying away from work. And Dave Washburn and his team out there, Dave is phenomenal. A lot of people don't know his name like they do others. And I just want to say a special thank you to those folks that stood behind me, had faith in me, confidence in me, gave me the go-ahead to do whatever I needed to do to have a good event, and people like that. And I want to say special thank you to one of the finest men that heaven that ever had, and that's Mr. Forrest Elwood in Nina. And the people at all the Bassmaster group down there. I admire all those pros and anglers and people like you too. In USA Bassin, whether it's a 20-boat tournament or a 100-boat tournament, you're treated well by you guys. And that's the way I like to do anglers. And I appreciate y'all.
Now, one guy, Bill, popped in our comments, a guy you may know, Mr. Jason Seelock. He said he blamed you for getting him into bluegill fishing.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, right there is a great person for first and foremost, and a whole lot better fisherman than anyone could ever dream of. He's an outdoor writer. He can do anything. He run our magazine department. He's done so much for this sport. Phenomenal. So I took him bluegill fishing with me. And, you know, most people that fish Kentucky Lake and fish bluegill, they think they only bite in May. But I figured out that I could catch them caught and picking bluegill offshore on Kentucky Lake the full moon of May, June, July, August, and even September. And also, when I first took him fishing bluegill, we fished in November and caught one of the biggest bags of bluegill you could ever dream of catching. So, yeah, he's a great guy. Great family, too. I love him.
Yep, we just had him on a couple episodes ago, and he was he couldn't help himself. He's got that bluegill bug so bad he can't hardly stand it till this day.
Just because, hey, you don't have to be a tournament fisherman out there to enjoy the sport. I mean, I've started fishing for crappie more than I have bass of late, and I never crappie fished. Lake Cumberland and Dale Hollow has got some of the biggest crappie you'll catch anywhere.
Yes,
and
they do.
That's another thing. You want to learn how to use that forward facing, go with somebody that crappie fishes a lot. Hire a guide, whatever it takes. Go crappie fishing. Learn how to catch those. You can learn how to catch the bass. I promise you.
That's true. That's true.
Now, you mentioned Dale Hollow there for a quick second, Bill, and that is in your neighborhood. It's just down the road from Cumberland.
Yeah.
We've got a little kayak. USA Bassin's into kayak fishing now as well. We've got a tournament getting ready to happen down there. What do you think these guys are going to catch? What should they be looking out for there on Dale Hollow?
Well, on the kayak tournaments, it's a little bit different than a regular USA Bassin event or anything else for that matter, because you guys use the measuring to weigh on board. So that's huge. That's huge. For the most part, almost every tournament right now on Dale Hollow has been won from what we'll call Trooper Island to the dam, the big water down toward the dam. And, there's a lot of different launch areas all through there. I fish the upper end of the Obi River. You'll catch more small fish up there. You can't win. On the kayak tournament, you probably could do okay up there because of the numbers. However, I would recommend any angler going to Dale Hollow right now. You can catch them right now good. It's 21 to 2 pound to win. 15 in a tournament that pays 15 spots. It'll take 16 pound money. I don't know how to add that up into kayak weights, but
it's probably about a 17.
There's a whole lot of good fishing for kayakers down there. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, 17 to 18 inch fish average, I would think.
18 inch average. Yeah, they're good. 18 inchers. See, for legal catching and people to bring a smallmouth in, then there has to be 21 inches. But and you can only manage to catch one of them. But now I will say this: since they've had that 21 inch size limit, I've weighed in 2 over 21 inches in my lifetime. Since then, and both of those was in a night tournament on the same night. 21 inches is pretty hard to come by down there, but boy, it's full of largemouth. I mean, full of them. People don't give it credit for what it deserves to be. We went the other day and had 5 for 21 or 2 pound, and we just looked for spots. We never fished hardly any. We probably didn't fish 2.5 hours. We were just looking, watching for stumps and looking, finding cover. My buddy Perry Nether, he's a guide down there, and we could have probably caught 20 keepers in the 3.5, 4 pound range, but I think we caught 8, and we didn't fish 2 hours, so it's good.
And Dale Hollow has those beautiful largemouth too that usually have some sort of a black tattoo on them somewhere on their body, which is very unique to that lake. How
Very
many
unique.
there is.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'll tell you, we had several tournaments at Lake Champlain, and I worked really close with the fisheries people up there because they're phenomenal to work with. And he asked me about those spots. He said, we've got largemouth up here. It's got black spots on them. What kind of disease is that? I said, that's not a disease. We call them as big old healthy largemouth bass with the black spots on them in Kentucky and Tennessee. And I know they're all through the Ozarks and they're about everywhere. But the good healthy largemouth lakes, you're going to see a lot of them with those black spots. We just called it a pigment deal there where it just gathers kind of like a birthmark or something like that. But you catch ones with black spots on them, you've got a healthy fish.
Yeah. And there's a lot of them down there at Dale Hollow.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of them in Lake Cumberland, too. Now, Dale Hollow has got more fish in it, period, than Cumberland has. I'll just say that. But now, Cumberland's got a good smallmouth fishery. Don't get me wrong. I'd rather fish a tournament on Cumberland as Dale Hollow simply because of the size. The lake is just phenomenal. Our pros could not believe how good a tournament lake it was. They want to be able to find an area and fish. Dale Hollow's good. Don't get me wrong. And you mentioned Center Hill down there. If those guys in that your tournament down there, it should be on fire. They've got decent colored water down there, I know. And I know that the big creeks on Dale Hollow, the Obie River's got really good color. If your kayakers want to do that, I mean, they got a lot of opportunity. Tell them all to go to Sulphur Creek.
There you go. There you guys have got it.
Got the juice right there.
Hey, now, how often do you get into the big stripers out there on?
That's another one. Okay.
Let's talk about them big units.
Okay. So I'll fish Friday. Me and my cousin, he's the tournament director out Major League Fishing, Shannon Storm. And he come down and we stayed on a friend of ours, Ramey Long's houseboat, and we fished 2 days. And on Friday we fished for crappie, and he caught the 4 biggest crappie he'd ever caught in his life on the Cumberland on Friday, and he lives on Kentucky Lake, by the way. And we went bass fishing with an Alabama rig, and I boated 4 gigantic. I call them giants. They were 10-pound plus, 4 of them, and had 2 more big ones hooked. And we hardly fished for them, but we had some good stripers. If you're looking for stripers down there right now, it's simple. You just go to the flat-looking points and the flat-looking banks where the boat's sitting probably 25 or 30 yards off that point where it drops from about 20 foot into 30 or 35 and drop an Alabama rig down on the bottom, and you'll see 20 or 30 of those stripers. I got so tickled. There was a striper boat right where just trolling up on the creek there where we were fishing Saturday, and they watched me catch 2 of those big ones, and they hadn't had a bite all day. So I invited them in, and they drowned a few big old gizzard shad, and they boated 3 or 4. So they're there and they're biting, and pretty good ones. Sometimes you'll get a 30-pounder, but for the most part, they run 8 to 15 pounds.
They pull like a freight train, though.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, they do.
I use on my Alabama rig. I use a 20-pound P line, and I tighten my drag as hard as I can get it. And 2 of those 4 I caught, they actually stripped line, and I couldn't take my hand and pull it.
Wow!
Of course, I'm 78 years old.
Well, yeah, but they got it. They got a whole lot of power behind them.
They do. They're fun to catch.
They absolutely are. So
it seems like just yesterday, Bill, we were down there, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. It was the tournament that Scott Martin had won down on Cumberland.
Oh yeah.
And Eric Jackson was standing on top of the motorhome. We give away a couple of good Jackson kayaks down there, thanks to FLW and you guys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But man, that was a good time. Yeah.
Well, it was. Especially I might want to change my tune about one of my favorite memories. All my family was able to attend that event. We had great crowds. All my fishing family from over in that area was there, and they treated me like I was a king over there. And It was a great event. The city of Somerset, the town of Burnside, they work with you pretty well. I know USA Bassin goes mostly out of Conley Bottom, which that's a good central location. But they were impressed with that lake, and it's my favorite lake to fish, period. I might add, and because I've spent 55 years on it over there, and I fished one end to the other. So,
well, I'll throw this in there to you, Bill.
Sure.
We're at USA Bassin's going to put on and I want to say it's the end of September. I think September 27th. We're going to have one of our regional qualifiers.
Okay.
It's going to be on Lake Cumberland, and it's going out of Halcomb's this year.
Going out of where?
I believe it's Halcomb's.
Yeah, Halcomb Landing.
Halcomb Landing. That's where it's going out of.
Cool.
So that's it's going to be late September, I think. I want to say it's late September, and then they're going to be getting just checked with the office today, and the new spring summer schedule is going to be coming out soon down there.
Okay,
also.
good. Yeah.
So, but yeah,
you're going to see me down there this year. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I was just diagnosed a couple of years ago with this Alzheimer's, and I had to play things by ear a little bit till I got on schedule with my infusion program, and I'm a high advocate for that. But you guys put on a great team tournament event, and I've been so impressed. I watched a lot, like I said, at Kentucky Lake down there, but I was unable to fish them. But actually won one event, and I should have won two events, and unfortunately, I brought a short fish up that they recognized right quick. And we'd culled 5 or 6 others, and I just throwed it in the boat, and I said, that's a good keeper right there to start with. I never measured it or anything. And after it's all said and done, it didn't make the 15-inch minimum, but it still weighed 2 pounds 6 ounces. And I just noted it was a good keeper, and that cost us another win. So
I'll be dang.
Plus another one cost us a big bass award as well. So I did that. That was the same event. We would have won it and got big fish, but they caught me, and I didn't do it intentionally. I can promise you that.
Well, I can guarantee you that you didn't. I can guarantee that you didn't. So, well, I can't tell you how much it's meant to me. I don't want to speak for Chad, but I know it's meant tons to me. To all the folks out there listening, I got to thank you for setting all of this in motion with tournament fishing at the grassroots, because back in the day, the grassroots was the Operation Bass. It was the Mike Whitakers. It was, and then Kathy, I can't say enough. Nobody can say enough about Kathy Fennell. She's something. Charlie Evans, all those guys, and you. Thank you for setting the stage, setting the table for guys like me and Chad and everybody else out there, and all the tournament anglers now. We couldn't be doing what we're doing today without the pioneers like you guys for what you did. So thank you, Bill Taylor, for everything that you've done for us.
Well, and again, thank you to my fans out there. I love everybody, and you guys keep putting on those great events. You enforce the rules just the way they need to be enforced, and you've got a great program. I like the championship type events that you put together. I like your format. I love it. That being said, I appreciate it, Chip and Chad, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon.
We'll look forward to seeing you there, buddy.
Have a blessed day.
Right.
Take care.
Right.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Bye.
Bye. Well,
Wow.
that's it.
I mean, you've got one of the godfathers of the tournament world right there, buddy, and laying out some great. He was putting out some of that. Telling you how to break down Cumberland and telling you how to break down Dale Hollow. And I didn't catch who that was. I didn't have my readers down, but yeah, awesomeness, man. That's pure awesomeness right there, Chad.
Yeah, and thank you guys for listening, chiming in the comments. This has probably been the lowest comments of the podcast so far because everybody, I think, was just listening.
Yes, I would agree
And,
with that. I would agree. Everybody was just listening in. So
we thank all you guys for watching, as always.
Yep. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you all out there. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Chad, close her out, brother.
Yeah, we will be back. The Kayak Fishing Awards show. We'll be back with awards from Chickamauga on the 9th. So we will see you, Jason Cassidy, and I will see you guys back on the 9th. Chip and I will return on March 18th. Looking forward to it. Get out there, go to a little Bassin, go support them boys out there on the Bassin Trail.
Yes, absolutely. We want to
go
see
to
you
a
there.
weigh in, cheer these guys on, and hey, cheer on that baseball team. U.S. baseball team's in action.
Yes, sir.
Right now, playing in the big games. So go cheer on Team USA. Let's get another gold medal. We got one in hockey. By golly, we need one in baseball.
That's right. That's what we need. So, Chad, appreciate you, brother. Everybody out there, appreciate you all. Be safe, stay safe, catch your big one, tight lines, and we'll see you on the next one.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, y'all.